Right, 31 January 2026, and today I'm excited to be giving you the morning update. This is the very last day of the month of January, so we're moving very quickly into the new year, which is 2026. Only 11 months to go, and this is going to be a very important day for Zanu PF. So Zanu PF is holding what is called a cell day. So today we're going to see Mnangagwa making a speech at Goede Hoop Farm. So we're expecting to see Mnangagwa and all his family members at Goede Hoop Farm. So a cell is made up of 50 people. That includes the structure at that cell and the members. So that is what Zanu PF operates like. It operates from the ground. And they've made an announcement today explaining what needs to be done. So that is 21 leaders of Zanu PF will be at each location, and obviously they are local people. So that means 21 leaders and then 29 general members. That is how Zanu PF operates. They operate from a local level, and then they create a database. So Zanu PF knows how many people exactly they have across the whole country because they're operating from a local level. That is how Zanu PF is winning elections. They are making sure that they've got a structure. And this is how it is operating right now. So let's see what Mnangagwa does. We expect a lot of movement today, people driving, because they expect everyone who is in the national structure of Zanu PF to also go where they come from, or from their village, or to the place where they are registered. However, I don't know how a cell operates in Harare, where it's so big. But what we're going to have today is one of the biggest movements. So that is driving up and down among the officials of Zanu PF, including the top leadership, who are supposed to go back to their cells, where they come from, not just at the top. But if you are a leader of Zanu PF, a central committee, you're in Politburo, you're still supposed to go where you come from. However, the biggest story today is Obert Mpofu. So we expect Mnangagwa to make an announcement on certain changes that he's going to make. So in the coming week or two, we expect Mnangagwa to make changes in the government, in the military, in the security services, and also in Zanu PF. So last year, it was big. There were so many changes that took place in January. However, this year, Mnangagwa has not made a lot of changes when he was on leave. So we expect those changes to come within the next week or two. Particularly yesterday, I mentioned that there was going to be a change of the security structure, that is intelligence, with Falton Mangwanya expected to be removed. And I've obviously received more information to say he's also going to be removed because of the factional battles within Zanu PF, particularly Blessed Geza. When he was still in the army barracks, it is said that Mangwanya was asked to make sure that Geza was arrested, but he refused or failed to make sure that that happened. So Mangwanya did not manage to get Geza arrested. So that is one of the other reasons why he's going to be removed. However, in terms of Obert Mpofu, Mpofu is seen as part of Chiwenga's crew. Some people who support Chiwenga, who are working and are closely aligned to Chiwenga. Ever since he was demoted to Secretary for ICT from the position of Secretary General, we've seen the independent newspaper reporting that Mpofu has not arrived at the Zanu PF head office or headquarters. So Mpofu normally operated from Zanu PF headquarters. He was responsible for the day-to-day running of the committees of Zanu PF. So Monday to Friday, if you went to that office, you would see Mpofu at the office. However, after he was demoted, he then moved to Bulawayo, and he has not been seen at the Zanu PF headquarters. And that is, they've attempted to get him to come back. And Mpofu has refused to come back, has refused to work at the Zanu PF headquarters, and has been working in Bulawayo. I don't know if he's got an office in Bulawayo only, but I know that Mpofu has got a lot of locations, Victoria Falls, Umguza, and also at Bulawayo. So it means he's not associating himself with the day-to-day activities of Zanu PF anymore. However, what we expect is that Mnangagwa is going to make an announcement on Valerio Sibanda. So that means putting Valerio Sibanda back into Zanu PF. Remember, Sibanda left the army. And after he left the army, he has been quiet, he has been at his farm. And now we don't have a strong person in the military within the actual administrative structures of Zanu PF. So what we expect is the removal of Obert Mpofu, and then we have Valerio Sibanda coming into Zanu PF. So Zanu PF has got the political structures and it has got the administrative structures. So I don't know if they're going to put him in the administrative structures of Zanu PF, but that is normally reserved for people who have got a national or who have worked within Zanu PF for a long time. So Valerio has not worked inside of Zanu PF for a long time. So let's see what Mnangagwa is going to do. We expect a move on Valerio and on Mpofu. So those are the two important moves that we expect to happen. We also expect Mnangagwa to put more people from Masvingo and pack them within the structures or within his affiliates. So Mnangagwa operates through affiliates. And you can see that the Masvingo crew, including Stanley Kondongwe here, have been around Mnangagwa this past week. So Mnangagwa is making moves. But the biggest move that we expect is on Mpofu and also on Valerio Sibanda. Remember, Mnangagwa owns the newspapers in Zimbabwe. He owns the Trevor Ngcobe's newspaper. So if you see a report inside of one of Trevor Ngcobe's newspapers, he is communicating a message. So they're giving Mpofu a last chance and warning him that if he doesn't toe the line and come back to the office, they're going to fire him. So if they fire Mpofu, that means we no longer have a senior person from Matabeleland inside of the administrative structure of Zanu PF. And the ICT portfolio is quite crazy. Many people think it's not important, but it's actually very important because the database of Zanu PF is where you've got the cell numbers. So you'll be able to go and look into the database, who is where, and so forth. So if you look at what they're doing today, if you look at this, they are not using their cell phone and electronic ways of recording who is attending. So I do not know whether this is connected to Mpofu or not, but Zanu PF actually has a system where you can electronically check your membership and you can electronically interact with your membership through, for example, SSD. You can type things and check your membership, renew your membership, make your payments, get your card. And at the moment, they are not using that. Today, they're going to be manually checking each and every member across the country. So if you look at 50 people, so that is in the whole country of Zimbabwe. So let's take a calculator here. And we say, for example, you've got 3 million members of Zanu PF, and you divide that by 50. It means there's going to be 6,000 meetings today of more than 50 people of Zanu PF that are going to be in place today. That is a massive operation. So Zanu PF has got a massive operation. And Mpofu is not involved as the Secretary for ICT. And basically what they're going to do is to say you have not been part of it, you've not been attending meetings, and you must now leave. And then they'll appoint someone else. That database is very important. I don't think they're going to allow Mpofu to just take care or to move away with it. Because what will happen if Mpofu just downloads the database and gives it to Chiwenga, for example? Remember, the DCCs last year were reorganized. So there is a continuous reorganization of the DCC to make sure that Chiwenga does not get a foothold inside of the cells or the local level of Zanu PF. Because when the voting starts, For example, when they now need to vote for a new president or to nominate Tagwire, which I expect they want to do, that database is going to be very important. That local level is going to be very important. And someone like Mpofu is going to be seen as a Chiwenga guy or a stumbling block. And that is why you're going to see a quick move against him. But we are obviously going to see a lot today. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Mnangagwa says today. And also let's see what Chiwenga does. Chiwenga is expected to be at Wedza. I believe that is where his cell is. And let's see what the other leaders of Zanu PF are going to do, because a change is coming at the end of this year. By December, Mnangagwa will no longer be the president of Zanu PF. There will be a new president of Zanu PF. Even if they were to extend Mnangagwa's term to 2030, Zanu PF still has to hold an elective congress according to their constitution. So we still have Mnangagwa coming out at the end of this year. He's not going to be the president of Zanu PF. He's not going to be the president of Zimbabwe. The year of Mnangagwa, the end of the year, is in his last 11 months right now as the president of Zimbabwe. So a massive day, very important, setting the stage for the new Zanu PF, which is coming, where we have probably a new leader or Mnangagwa's successor, chosen successor, who is at the moment Kuda Tagwire. Okay, so let's see what happens. We'll be following this, and I expect that by around 10, Mnangagwa would have already made a speech at Goede Hoop Farm, where a lot of people are going to gather. Which 50 people are going to be over there, I don't know, but we'll see which people are going to be there. So we're looking for 50 people at each cell who are going to attend this morning. All right, let's quickly go into the news. And the biggest story, obviously, is what is happening between South Africa and Israel. So yesterday, and as I showed you last week, we have a big fight between the South African government and the Israeli government. So yesterday, South Africa has expelled the ambassador of Israel and declared him as a non-gratia person, or they don't want him in the country. They've given him 6 days to leave. And then Israel has also retaliated by removing the ambassador of South Africa from Israel. So you can see the statement which has been issued here by DECO. And the reasons that they gave is that the ambassador of Israel to South Africa has been insulting Cyril Ramaphosa and has been engaging in non-diplomatic activities, such as visiting the Eastern Cape, where he made donations to hospitals and moved around with the King Darling level. So South Africans have said, after the ambassador was chased from Israel, they've said it's actually not the ambassador of South Africa to Israel. They've said that Sean Edward Nevelt is actually the ambassador of South Africa to Palestine. So they say that it's nothing. So this is what they're saying. They're saying that the Israelis did not chase their ambassador, and therefore they are claiming victory after chasing the ambassador Ariel Sidman, who has been told to leave South Africa as soon as possible. So what is happening is that South Africa is getting closer and closer to BRICS, that is Iran, China, all these other countries. And they are banking on totally moving their relationship to that side. And this week, or in the next few weeks, we expect the new United States ambassador to arrive. And this is the stage being set. As I said to you last week, a few weeks, we expect the South Africans to refuse to accredit the United States ambassador to South Africa. And then this is in retaliation to the United States refusing to accredit the South African ambassador to the United States. So you can see that there's a lot of pushing and pulling between the two sides. But eventually the South Africans will lose. There is no way that the South Africans can fight the United States and Israel. It's like one against none. So that fight won't be won by the South Africans. Cyril Ramaphosa, I don't think he's got this properly thought out. It's a very poor idea. It's a useless fight. You can't fight the Americans. Even the Chinese won't fight the Americans. I don't know why he does it, but that is what the ANC is doing. I believe that the guys who are for Palestine have got a very strong hold inside the DECO. So the policy of South Africa is being influenced by people that are aligned to the Palestinians. And that is why the policy is so strange. No South African cares about this whole thing. This fight has got no South Africans in it. It's just an ANC and Palestinian fight, and it's just messing up the whole South African economy. The South African economy has crashed. So nothing's happening in South Africa at the moment. Production is zero. And also, unemployment is very high. There is a very strong currency in a high interest environment with imports, especially from China, dominating. So the car industry has collapsed with 4,000 jobs lost as China is dumping cars on the South African market. China is also dumping clothes, equipment, electronics on the South African market, resulting in an environment where there's no manufacturing. And you are getting a South Africa where services are starting to collapse. For example, I showed you last week that in the past 2 months, at my own house, I have not had water for almost 10 days. So water just doesn't flow out. In Johannesburg, the Johannesburg water has warned the people not to drink water from the taps because of an understandable smell that is coming out of the taps. If you look at the roads, small roads are full of potholes. Just drive around anyway. So we have a collapse of services, unemployment, low production. And in that environment, the South African government is busy fighting for a country that is not really a country. So if you look at Palestine, it's not really a country. And the situation in Gaza and their court case is just a crazy situation. I do not know why the South Africans would be involved in such a fight. So that is crazy. And then in Kenya, we have had 3 recruits dying yesterday. So there was a training that took place at Kenya, and 3 army recruits have passed away during that training. That is after they failed to withstand the heavy training. So when they're recruiting, they make you run and all that. So 3 people have died during that exercise. And then let's look at other news that is taking place in Zimbabwe. We've got a big story of the arrest of a Zimbabwean wanted murderer. So that is Felinkosi Masuku has been arrested after a manhunt, and he was arrested around Shangani River. So Shangani River is on the way to Harare from Bulawayo, about 80 to 100 kilometers. After he committed the murder in Ngai, where he killed his girlfriend, who is also the close relative of Chief Dakamela, he then fled. And on his way, after killing her, he found a man who was just walking and also stabbed him. So 2 people were hospitalized. Himself is in hospital. The man who was stabbed, as he was just walking, he randomly met someone and stabbed that person. And then he fled. When he was fleeing, he then tried to take himself out through drinking some fertilizer, but he did not pass away and was apprehended at a river in Shangani. So we're going to see him appearing in court. This guy is married and he's got his own wife and family in Johannesburg. However, he followed the girl that he was dating as his side chick and killed her because she said she did not want to date a married guy. So this is a crazy story, and we'll see what happens, what he explains this on Monday. Probably on Monday he's going to appear in court, but also Zimbabwean courts are open today. So let's see what he says when he appears in court today. And then in Malawi, we've got a new development. The president has appointed 3 more ministers. So Minister of Youth, Minister of Natural Resources, and Minister of Industrialization. Mutharika has been making new appointments almost on a weekly basis ever since he came into office. And Malawi is grappling with one of the worst foreign currency shortages ever. Yesterday, the Reserve Bank of Malawi has issued a warning to people who are exporting and not repatriating money into Malawi. So we've got this press release which just came out, which says all these people, for example, Blessing Shumba here, $2 million dollars import. He's probably the biggest exporter who has not brought money back into Malawi. And Malawi has also introduced a diaspora account. Money is just not coming into Malawi. Malawi is struggling. They can't buy anything. They can't pay. They can't even print. So small things like printing certificates for schools, they can't do it. Malawi going through a very hard time because of the policies of Chakwera. So when Chakwera was president, he artificially lowered the price of fuel. And this resulted in a massive gap in Malawi's bank balance. So Malawi is doing very badly economically, and I hope that they solve it. However, it's going to be very difficult. The United States has signed an MOU with Malawi, where they're going to be providing direct support of almost $1 billion in 2026. So I hope that helps. And other people, there's been an appeal to donors to assist in Malawi. And then in Botswana, we've got Mzunila. I hope I get that right. Mzunila is a former Minister of Agriculture and Youth, and his properties were seized in the past 2 months by the government of Botswana. The court has ruled yesterday that the properties must be returned. 9 of the properties must be returned, but 25 of the properties and 1 million in cash has been seized by the government of Botswana. They are saying he's corrupt, and how did he get all that money when he was just a minister? This man is a professor and a doctor after graduating from the Northwest University in South Africa. And at one point, he did leave Botswana after they seized his properties in the past few months. So in December, that is when all this went down. But yesterday, the court gave him back 9 of his properties and then confirming the removal of or the seizure of 25 of the properties. Right, let's quickly look at the newspapers. We're going to go to the Herald newspaper and see if they published. So Herald Zimbabwe is the biggest circulating newspaper in Zimbabwe. So they've not published. Let's go to the Chronicle newspaper and see if there's anything over there. Chronicle Zimbabwe. Chronicle Zimbabwe is delaying their publication a lot these days. And I do not see the Chronicle. Let's see the Citizen newspaper of South Africa, if they've published. So right now we don't have the Citizen newspaper of South Africa, so everyone is sleeping. The only person awake is Gambakwe. However, from Manica Post, we've got a massive problem that has taken place in Zimbabwe. So 109 Zimbabweans have died over the past 2 months. So 109 Zimbabweans. Let me show you the breakdown of these people that have died in Zimbabwe. So the people have died at Manicaland with 36, Mashonaland West with the 20, other provinces with 40, and then we've got Matabeleland South, Matabeleland North, and Bulawayo, people dying from flooding. So people are dying when they try to cross rivers, when their houses are taken away, when children are crossing to school. So we've had 109 deaths taking place in Zimbabwe since around November. Manicaland is the most affected, with all dams now overflowing. So all the dams in Manicaland are now overflowing. However, the Zimbabwe government is not capable of addressing the issues that are taking place with the disaster recovery or disaster structures failing to reach people who are then either taken away or who lose their properties and have to go and shelter elsewhere. So we have a serious problem right now. However, the Zimbabwe Army was last week briefly deployed to Mozambique, where they helped with the rescue. So we had 2 helicopters over there, and then we had a number of army trucks that were seen coming out of Mozambique back into Zimbabwe. So I don't know when they went into Mozambique over there. Let's quickly look at other things. I want to quickly see if there's anything else here of interest that I have not covered. So I want to look at Mugano. So I'm very interested in Mugano. And Mugano is struggling. So Mugano is going to learn a heavy lesson from Zanu PF. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe was supposed to introduce a currency or not this particular in a short period of time. However, they failed to introduce the currency. So what they're now saying is that you must continue to use the currency that we have now. So you are supposed to continue using the currency that you have. Don't worry about the currency not coming. So we are waiting to see what the currency will look like. At the moment, there's no money in Zimbabwe. And we have seen more closures of business. So Mnganu, Gift Mnganu is complaining. Yesterday he was on a radio station complaining that Zimbabweans are the ones that are causing the problem because they're fighting the stability. So he's saying that there must be stability first, and then there'll be investment. People come to invest because of stability. I don't think he's correct. He doesn't understand his economics. So the reason why this is happening is they've sent him out to try and market the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe and what they call stability. There's no stability right now at the moment. The problem in Zimbabwe is not investment. Zimbabwe is an attractive investment destination. It's a good asset. So if you want to invest in Zimbabwe, it's a good asset. The problem with Zimbabwe is consumption. So people are not buying, people are not consuming. And what people are now doing, because South Africa rand is so strong, people are now coming to South Africa and buying. In Zimbabwe, you're now getting the goods. There is no cash. And there's a shortage of cash at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. They don't have money. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is owing so much. Treasury is owing so much. And they're not paying. So money is not circulating. The amount of money in Zimbabwe is very small. 10 billion. That is the GDP of Zimbabwe. However, in terms of cash, the actual government doesn't have cash. But people have got about 1.2 billion at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. That is companies and all that, which is a very small amount of money. A small company in South Africa, their bank balance is 1.2 billion. And therefore, people like Mnganu, they're going to struggle a lot. They will not be able to explain to people what is going on. Mangudya is back. So Mangudya is speaking more than the current Reserve Bank governor, Mshayawana. That is Mshayawana, doesn't have a plan, doesn't know what to do. And Mangudya now has to come and hold sessions. And we don't even know where Mshayawana is. He was not present at the same function where Mnganu was. And now we're seeing more of the deputy governors and we're seeing more of Mangudya. So I believe that one of the changes that Mnangagwa is going to make might even involve Mshayawana himself, because he's not president. I do not know where he is and what is happening with him. The Zimbabwean economy is seriously mismanaged. The mismanagement in that economy cannot be explained. And the infrastructure is collapsing on a daily basis, especially the roads. You can, if you see what is happening in Harare CBD, the state of the roads, and even the state of buildings, it's shocking. It's like you're at a growth point when you're right at the city center of Harare. So an investor, once they come to Harare and they spend a day or two in Harare, they will never come back again. Worse if they get out of the CBD. So let's say you go to Bulawayo, or you go to Harare, or you go to all these other small cities. You won't come back if you're an investor. So you've got the consumption problem, you've got the infrastructure problem, and then you've got the currency issues where you cannot buy anything in Zimbabwe with your own currency. No one has seen the ZiG. I've never seen the ZiG. And if I haven't seen the ZiG, you can be sure that no one has seen that thing. So there's nothing to defend. And this year is going to be one of the biggest and most difficult years for every single Zimbabwean. There is no way that this thing can work without, first of all, addressing the political issues. And that needs to happen. We can't do that through 2030. 2030 won't work. And therefore, we are in court. So on the 9th of February, I'll be at the Constitutional Court together with Mkoma More Precision Mzadzi. We need to challenge 2030. These guys are criminals, particularly Ziambi is a criminal. He belongs in jail. He's the guy who's pushing 2030. And what they want to do is to push Mnangagwa through to 2030 without any referendum and without consulting the people. So be over there. We want every single person to be at court, Constitutional Court. We want 1,000 people at the Constitutional Court on the 9th of February, and make sure that we make a very strong statement. All right, let's quickly look to our sponsors. And we obviously have the Valentine's special. Buy yourself 1 packet of Uve, and you get yourself 2 free imported perfumes over here. So these are amazing. Don't go without. We've got in Bulawayo, in Harare, and across South Africa, you just buy on the usual numbers at my office, and then our guys will deliver to you. And Autongwe Nema Saladi. Then we've got Fixly, one of our sponsors. If you want someone to fix your plumbing, electricity, painting, building, download the app called Fixly, and you can get a service provider at any time who is accredited, including a full builder. You can just go over there, you get builders, and everything will work for you. If they make a mistake or they don't serve you right, WhatsApp me and we send them back. Then obviously we're waiting for Nelson Chamisa to make an announcement on the leadership structure. Who is going to be in Chamisa structures? I know a few things, but everyone is anticipating the announcement by Nelson Chamisa, who is going to be in charge. And yesterday we've heard that Daniel Shumba has now taken over the Zimbabwe Independent Movement. So UDA and the Zimbabwe Independent Movement have now joined. They're one party now. This is going to be very interesting and we'll be following very closely because Daniel Shumba is one of the top guys from the army. He used to be in the army and he formed a new political party. That party has been quite dormant. And with the Zimbabwe Independent Movement and UDA coming together, now we've got another side. A lot has been happening behind the scenes. So let's see what happens with UDA. Is he going to be able to make use of his military links and his business links to become one of the top guys in Zimbabwe? Every single company you know in Zimbabwe, Daniel Shumba somehow is connected to his formation. That is Econet, Royal Bank, all that. You saw that speech that he gave, that interview that he gave to Mpuma Mawere. You can go and check it out. The guy has been in the formation of everything. After he left Zanu PF, he was also a Zanu PF chairman for Mashingo, and then went on to form his own political party, currently based probably in Dubai. And let's see if that is going to make a difference in the next coming thing, which is obviously the 2027, where Mnangagwa is going to be out of the picture. Is Chiwenga going to be able to push back now that we've got another military guy who is Daniel Shumba? So now we have a military guy, Daniel Shumba. We've got Chiwenga, another military guy, and we've got Sanyatwe, who I believe is going to come back. So we have 3 military guys at the top right now. What is going to happen in the next coming days? Well, we can expect a lot because politically, it means the military is quite strong. And then now add Valerio Sibanda, and now it means we've got 4 military guys who are going to be coming into this political space. And then Nelson Chamisa, who is obviously quite popular across the divide, that is within Zanu PF and outside of Zanu PF. Very interesting what is going to happen in the next short space of time. Then let's quickly look at, I want to look at, let me see if any of these guys have published, and then we'll go. Right, so still we have nothing. I'll come back here later and I'll give you guys an update. Let's go into our people. So we're going to look at the people that have published. I've seen that Minnie has published. So I'm going to go straight to Minnie. So where is Minnie right now? There she is. So Minnie Tabo Chiwenga. She is very interesting. She sells water. So let's see if she has said anything over here. So there is Minnie. Once upon a time at Kids and Teen Official with Andrea, the vocalist. So she's been taking us through a past work. These days, she was still not married, I think. I think she was not married to Chiwenga at this time. So go check it out and see what she was all about in the past. Very interesting. The most interesting picture of Minnie that I've ever seen is when she was wearing, so let me show you this picture. So funny. So let's see where it is. Do I have this picture on my desktop? Okay, there. So she has been going through her old pictures and showing you. And you can go and see this picture here. Do you see here? So she's been showing all the pictures of herself in the past. Go check it out. And then let's go to, who else to go to? Cde Herbert, 2 ministers in one house. The only 2 ministers in one house. What did she post yesterday? Someone tagged her in his furniture business. That is Trimax Furnitures. Go and check out Trimax Furnitures. Let's go to President Hakainde Hichilema. President Hakainde Hichilema is facing an election. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to UPND candidate, Mr. Baiwell Simboisa, on his victory in the Kasama Mero by-election. So UPND doing so well, one of the most strongest parties in this region, very organized. And then President Dumaboko is saying the government is wrong to make, say, Ketumile Teaching Hospital a public hospital, easing pressure on Princess Marina Hospital and other public facilities. Amazing stuff. Go check it out. And then let's look at Hopo. Hopo is probably one of the most active journalists in Zimbabwe. And we saw the arrest of, let me see what he's saying exactly. I don't want to say something that is not written here. So there's a journalist in the US who has been arrested for picketing and for demonstrating. I think that is what he's commenting about. That is Don Lemon. I don't understand Don Lemon myself. I find it to be very funny. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever seen. And then let's go to Sadak. Sadak calls for private sector to play a leading role in AFCFTA implementation. So go check that out. Ever since Mnangagwa left the chairmanship, Sadak has been doing so well. Many people had stopped working with Sadak. They are back, but the Sadak people are going through a lot. The least paid people in the region are Sadak employees. People at Sadak are struggling. They need more money, and I hope that they're getting it. And then let's go to First Lady of Zimbabwe. Let's see who is here. So First Lady of Zimbabwe, she's been very busy. Today we're going to see her at precab. Is she a member of ZANU or not? So that is First Lady. She did this thing that I showed you where the soldier was sitting. Soldiers are not allowed to sit like this. I don't know why they're sitting like that. And then let's look at Chamisa. Uriere Chamisa. Pani wambonoere Chamisa. Amunawe. Building a team. So Chamisa has tweeted, building a team. For any establishment to succeed, you need a team, not a group. A group is solo and silo active. In a group, success is individual, not collective. A group operates solo and in silos. A group is just a rectangle fixated upon outcompeting each other. A team is a collective. A team is people aligned, shared purpose, clear roles, trust, accountability, and willingness to pull in the same direction, even when the task looks impossible or appears inachievable. A group pretends and shows up together. A team stays and moves together, focusing on build a team. Happy Friday. So we know that Nelson Chamisa is currently building his team. And what do I expect? So Nelson Chamisa's style is very different from everything else or from everyone else. Chamisa, when he builds the team, it's very effective. So when Chamisa took over the MDC Alliance, so there was something called the MDC Alliance, which was taken over by Nelson Chamisa. And then MDC Alliance was taken over by Thokozani Kupe. So Chamisa formed MDC, another MDC Alliance. And then he had a team around him. They then formed this current CCC after they tried to contest the election. And that MDC was also taken. So they took MDCT, they took MDC Alliance, they took CCC, and then Chamisa formed what is called the Blue Movement, or some people around Chamisa formed the Blue Movement. And that was being led by Chibaya and Ostalos. And then Chamisa fired Fadzai Mahere. That was the biggest firing I've ever seen. When Chamisa fired Mahere, that was crazy and unbelievable. Then Chamisa fired Biti. That was crazy. And then Chamisa fired a whole bunch of people like Monzora. So Chamisa is very good at getting rid of people around him that he doesn't like around him. What do I expect right now? I expect that Chamisa is going to continue with his style of not having a vice president, a secretary general, whatever. He's not going to have that. What Chamisa is probably going to announce is something more like groups or committees. So something that you cannot define, an undefinable animal. You can't tell if it's a head or a tail, or in short, it's a fugazi. It's going to be a fugazi. Chamisa, Ashanetsa this year, it's going to be so crazy. And The structure already exists. That's the funny thing. People who are in Chamisa structure, they know each other. So what is going to happen is going to be even more confusing. You can be assured of that. That is going to be very, very confusing. Even the people in Chamisa structure don't know what's going on. It's so crazy. I can't believe it. And some of them, one day they know what is going, the next day they don't. That is typical Nelson Chamisa. I do not know how it's going to form a government with that approach. Because in government, you now need to say, this is that person and this is that person. But currently, Chamisa structure is fluid and undefined. Very crazy structure that is defined there as a team. So that is what he's talking about. And then let's quickly go to the comments. Gogo watching from Europe. Thank you very much, Gogo. Tumire Mpana wenyu maswiti. It's too late. Robert is now one of the richest people in Zimbabwe. Finally, look shy in your Nyempama. And then FM, okay, firing and hiring. Haha, Mnangagwa is confused. Yes, Obert Mpofu is definitely going to be fired. I told you guys before he was fired. Go and check out a video that I made, which says Obert Mpofu to be fired. That video, I made it just before he was fired from Zanu PF. That is because Mnangagwa is very predictable. In January and February, he's going to fire people. He's going to appoint new people. But it's not like Mtarika. Mtarika writes a letter and say, I'm firing you. Mnangagwa fires you before he fires you. And you know already that you have gone. And then let's see what happens because he's got only 11 months in office. All right, I think I've covered everything. We have completed our 30-day fast. And as you can see, I look totally different. Like the new me, so different. Let's see the old me. What did I look like before the fast? Let's look for an old picture. I want to look for an old picture of me. Guys, doing a 30-day fast is one of the, you need the biggest strength, especially a dry fast. We did a dry fast for 24 hours. We only had 1 meal a day. So let's see if I can find any photo of myself when I was still not on the fast. So that was crazy. Unfortunately, I can't find any of my old pictures. It will take too much time to do it. But I've totally changed. And it's very interesting to go through these fasts. What are we going to do? So what we're going to do is we're going to be creating the AFM University. We are starting today. The AFM University is going to be set up. It is going to be a structure which will allow you to come in and become a shareholder, invest. And also, it is going to allow the AFM to have an ideological and academic center. So you're going to have a new approach. The AFM is a very poor church. No money, no structure, no nothing. They all move around the Bible. It's okay. That is the job of a church. But for the members, a church must be able to create opportunity, to create wealth, and also to create jobs. So churches must create jobs. And we're going to create that center. We're going to help the AFM. The registrations have been done. And we're going to be slowly moving with this thing because I understand the risks associated with this big project that we're about to embark on. My own preference is to set up something at Victoria Falls, have the Victoria Falls as a big academic center and also a big and most important investment center for the AFM. AFM is made up of many different churches. So there is AFM in Zimbabwe, AFM, AFM International. You are all welcome. We want you guys to make money. We're going to create the faculties that are connected to business, construction, transport, insurance, financial services. So the kind of university that we want to set up is going to, coming from the varsity, you should be able to implement and will create one of the biggest opportunities for everybody. So you can see that I'm clear about what we need to do and how we need to do it. And we want people to join. So I hope that the next 6 months will be defining. And the first thing we want to do is obviously to raise about $1 million for the land. So that is very easy. A big church like that, with all you guys looking and agreeing. So many people have called me, let's get this done. And we'll be pushing it every single day. We want the AFM to be the strongest and most powerful financial structure in the whole Zimbabwe. Right. I think I've covered that, and you guys love it. I also love it. Let us move on. So we're going to be moving on. I'm so unhappy that I didn't see the newspapers today, but we'll look at them. I'll come back later. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the Cell Day, Zanu PF members, and the rest of you, I'll see you during the day, and a good day to you all.